All right, so we've got another pro tip lecture here, and this time we're going to talk about importing entire models directly from Excel. So in Power BI, we've got this import menu that we really haven't talked about yet, and you have this option to import Excel workbook contents. And note that this is different from using the get data option and pointing to an Excel workbook. What this is doing is actually importing additional information about the entire model from Excel into Power BI. So, what's incredibly helpful about this is that this process preserves just about all of the information about your model. It transitions information about the data source connections and queries that are in place, all the file paths. It maintains the query editing procedures, all of the applied steps, the data modeling details like the relationships and hierarchies and field settings and formats and etc. etc. And then last but not least, all of your calculated columns and DAX measures are also imported from your Excel model into Power BI. So quick pro tip here. If you're more comfortable building models in the Excel environment, which is covered in Maven's Power Query, Power Pivot, and DAX course, then go ahead and continue to build there within that environment. And then just import those models into Power BI for the reporting and visualization phase. You'll end up in the exact same place. Honestly, it's really just which environment you're more comfortable in. All right, so sit back, relax for a minute, and just watch this demo. I'm going to show you what it looks like when you actually import a full data model from Excel into Power BI. So this is the Food Mart Data Model Complete file from the Power Query, Power Pivot, and DAX course. And basically here, we've got a fully built data model with a whole bunch of tables here, lookup tables and data tables. We can jump over into the diagram view here that'll show us all of our relationships, our table relationships in one place, right? We've got all these lookups. You can see that we've got our parameters and our disconnected tables as well. So again, it's a pretty robust model here. And then on top of that, we've also got all of our measures that we have created. And this would be a huge, huge headache if we had to recreate all of these different measures from scratch in Power BI. And luckily, with this functionality, we won't have to do that. Now, one thing to note here, as part of this workbook, we've added all sorts of pivot tables with things like conditional formatting and data bars and icon sets. And there's really no equivalent Power Pivot view quite like this in Power BI. There's a matrix visual that's similar, but not quite the same. So all of these views, the actual pivot tables, these additional tabs down here, none of that stuff will actually transfer over. So I just want to make sure that you're clear on that first. All right, so from here, I'm going to go and open up a brand new Power BI file so that we can import this model directly into it. All right, so I've launched my brand new workbook and I'm just going to close out of this menu here. And again, we are not getting data from the Get Data menu. We actually want to come up to File here, and we are going to import data from Power Query, Power Pivot, or Power View. Right, and here's my Food Mart Data Model Complete file. We'll click on this. Excel Workbook Contents. It says we don't directly work with Excel Workbook Contents, but we know how to extract the useful content so that you can work with it in Power BI Desktop. And again, that's great. Right? We don't necessarily need all of those pivot table views and everything like that. We really just want to get all of the modeling and DAX and calculated columns and all of that stuff imported into Power BI. So click Start. Oh, and we get an error message. Migration failed. It's already open in another program. So let's head back over and we'll close out of Excel first. All right, so we'll just close out of this. And let's hit retry. All right, there we go. So now it says, okay, we've got some tables that exist in that original workbook. In other words, they were created using actual cell ranges in Excel. And it's just saying, hey, do you want to copy the data or keep the connection between Power BI and Excel? And because I just want to import everything into Power BI, we're going to copy the data instead of trying to keep some sort of connection open. All right, so Power BI is running through all of their steps in order to import that fully built model into Power BI. All right, and that went pretty quickly, right? And check it out. It's migrated all of these different tables over. We've got these data model connections and items, KPIs and measures. Right? We've got 48 here. A pretty exhaustive list here of everything that was imported over into our data model. Back in our report view, we can see that we've got all of the tables from the model that were added. Jump over into our data view. Same thing here. like calendar table, right? We've got all of our different months and calculations, right? Same thing, our relationship view or our model view here. We'll scroll out a little bit. Can collapse these panes so we can see it. Again, it's imported our data model as well. It's a little bit messy. We can go through and reorganize things, but the point here is that it's imported all of the tables and all of our calculations. If I head back over here and we start looking at these measures, right, 6-month rolling profit, click in, we've got all of those great DAX measures that we created in Excel right here in Power BI. All right, so some of these details aren't really going to make sense quite yet until we dive into the data modeling and DAX sections of this course. But again, I just want to give you a little preview here and let you know that this is an option to be able to pull a fully baked model from Excel right into Power BI.